Dark type is in Japan also known as the evil type. And even though I'm not from Japan, I also think that the darkness is something evil. But if there won't be any darkness, there wouldn't be any light. So in today's monotype Nuzlocke, I will try and conquer the Kalos region with only using Dark type Pokémon. In the description you can find all the rules that I'm playing with, but in short, I can only catch the first Dark type Pokémon or Pokémon that evolves into a Dark type on a certain route. If a Pokémon faints, it is considered dead. I cannot level up any Pokémon to the higher level to the next gym leader's highest Pokémon, and I will not be using any items in battle. So without further ado, here is my run. Unlike in the Bug Type Nuzlocke, this time we can choose and keep our starter. Froakie evolves into the Dark type Greninja, so until we find our first Dark type Pokémon, we can use Froakie. In his first battle, Dr. Facilier is strong against Shauna because she uses a Fennekin and win very easy the first of many rival battles. In this run we have to beat 4 different rivals, and in total we will battle 11 times against them, so there are a lot more rival battles in the future. But before we have another rival fight, we already have our first gym battle. Because the level cap is only level 12 and we only have Froakie, I first have to train him. Thanks to the super training, I have Froakie that's EV trained in special attack and normal attack, and thanks to that we stand a chance against Fire. After getting hit with a quick attack, we use Lick and immediately paralyze the Surge Kit. After some growls and paralysis, we make sure that Surge Kit can't hit us that hard. We then keep exchanging hits and we survive the Surge Kit with half of our HP. But our most dangerous Pokémon is Vivian. He starts with a critical hit, but that only powers our bubble up thanks to our Torrent ability. And after an infestation we survive on 4 HP and deal the last blow with the bubble and win our first batch. We then meet Professor Sycamore for the first time, and because we still haven't met the Dark type, we will only use Froakie against the 3 Kanto starters. First up is the hardest matchup, Bulbasaur. Our quick attack hits to nearly half and we can take a super effective Vine Whip. Then Froakie uses Weather Pearls and confuse the Bulbasaur, who hits himself in confusion and defeats itself. Against Squirtle we do the same thing, but now we need 2 Water Pearls and Charmander is no match for our Water type attack. After the battle he even evolves into Frogadier. Even with the evolution, Frogadier isn't a Dark type, but we can find the first one on Route 5. A route where we can find Horde encounters, and in these hordes I can find the Scraggy. As you can see, I caught a Combi that knows Sweet Scent, because that's a move that always triggers a Horde encounter, and it is the only way that we can find the Scraggy. There's also a Pancham on this route, but because Scraggy is a Dark type and Pancham only evolves into one, we choose Scraggy for this route. After defeating 4 of the Scraggy, we catch it in a Pokeball and name her Cruella. The next rival that crosses our path is Tierno. He has a Corvus, but 2 Faint attacks are enough to defeat him. And after that battle it is time for some sightseeing and watching fireworks together with our other rival. Then we have a dangerous battle against the not so sleepy Snorlax, but because he is so heavy, our low kick does massive damage and we one-hit KO him. After the Snorlax, it's time for some rival survival. Together with Serena we fight against Trevor and Tierno. Her Fletchling starts with a quick attack and gets paralyzed, then we can feint attack against the Corvus and do just under half. Luckily for us, Fletchling is the target of the attacks and feints after 2 attacks. Next up is Herquilidin, and together with him we defeat the Corvus. Paralyzes us, but our ability cures it, and after the cure it is a 2-on-1 battle and we diff his 2 remaining Pokemon with ease and win the double battle. Don't want that Scraggy is alone, our next steps are catching some new Pokemon. First is Absol on Route 8, then Sandal on Route 9, and after dealing with Team Flare for the first time, we go to Route 10 and catch an Eevee in a Luxury Ball. The Luxury Ball is handy because we can take good care of it and evolves it before the next gym battle against Grant into an Umbreon. Grant, the rock gym leader, is luckily not so hard thanks to his second types in Fighting and Ground. First, an easy Brick Break is enough to defeat Amora, and even a critical Stomp isn't enough to stop our Scraggy and he can Brick Break again. Tyrant then heals up and we hit him again. Then Tyrant stomps flinches us and we decide to switch to Absol, who takes another critical stomp. Bite is enough to defeat Tyrant and we win the Cliff Badge. Our next battle isn't a gym battle or a rival battle, but it's one of the most scary battles in the game. We'll have to fight against the 2 Lucarios of Corina. To only stand a chance, we evolve our Sandal into Krokorok. Lucario starts with a Swords Dance and the Sand Tomb is just not enough to defeat it. Luckily for us, Lucario doesn't attack us and we can defeat her first one with Teeth. The second power-up punches us, doing massive damage, but thanks to Moxie, Sand Tomb is enough to defeat it and we defeat Corina without losing a Pokemon. Next up we can finally catch our 5th and 6th team members, Stunky and Sableye in Reflection Cave. Sableye will be a massive help in the next gym battle against Korrina. Before our gym battle, we first have to defeat Serena. Meowstic starts with flinching us and then use Disarming Voice for some damage, but we retaliate with a Crunch and defeat it. Quilladin is next, so we switch to Stunky. With our strong combination of Toxic, Protect and Venoshock, we defeat Quilladin. Absol is the third and final Pokemon, but we do the same strategy and defeat Serena. Round 2 against Korrina is our third gym battle, but she almost can't hit us thanks to Sableye. Only Machoke has a move that can hit us, so Mienfoo goes down very fast. Then comes Machoke. We do some Shadow Sneaks, but Machoke starts to leer us, so after 2 leers I switch for safety to Krokorok. After some leers we switch around to Krokorok, but he meets the same fate, so we switch again to Sableye. After doing these things over and over again, we switch again to Krokorok, use Dig and defeat finally the Machoke. Then the last thing to do when Hawlucha comes out is go back to Sableye, and a few turns later we win our third badge. The next few gym battles are following each other up very fast, but before we can go into the 4th gym we have another Serena battle. But this time we do another strategy. Absol is fast and strong, and with the help of one Swords Dance we have enough power to defeat all her Pokemon in one move. All these battles in quick succession come with a cost because we gained too much experience on some of our Pokemon and we can't use 3 of them because they're overleveled for the next gym. Then I also make another mistake because I gave Stunky for some reason an Everstone instead of the Poison Barb, so he hasn't evolved at level cap. But with Umbreon, Stunky and Scraggy you go against Ramos. Stunky starts with Toxic, Protect and Venoshock, but even after we defeat Jumpluff we have to switch because Go-Goat is too strong for us. So Umbreon comes out, and after 2 assurances and a takedown damage from Go-Goat we defeat it. Only Weepinbell is next, so we start with Moonlight to heal back to full. We then get poisoned but hit very hard back with some assurances. We just can't do enough damage to defeat it, and after healing up and getting back down to half we switch to Scraggy, who ends the battle with Feint Attack. After the battle Stunky finally evolves into Skuntank and we receive the Plan Badge. The next gym leader's highest Pokemon is level 37, so we can finally evolve our starter Pokemon and use Greninja. But not for the next gym badge because Clement uses Electric type Pokemon. First Pokemon from Clement is Imolda, so we can't hit ground type moves against it, but with 2 Rock Tombs are enough to defeat it. Thanks to the Moxie Boost and a Dig, we can one-hit KO Heliolisk and only Magneton is left. But because Krokorok is so low on HP, we switch to Scraggy, who first hits with a power-up punch, then survives a Thunderbolt and defeats the Magneton with another Brick Break, gaining our 5th gym badge. Serena doesn't know when she has to stop, so we defeat her again using Krokorok, Skuntank and Scraggy. After the battle we catch our next Pokemon, a Scoropie, who also evolves before the next gym just like Scraggy and Krokorok. Valerie uses Fairy type Pokemon, so this is one of the more dangerous battles of the run, but we start with our newest team member, Scarred Drapion. Mawile can't hurt us that much, so we begin with putting some Toxic Spike downs. Then we switch to our newly evolved Crocodile so he can start setting up with Power Up Punch. After 5 punches we can use Dig to end Mawile. Mr. Mime then comes out, but the attack boosts and our speed is enough to defeat it. Sylveon is her last Pokemon and we are again faster and defeat it with a Dig and ends the most dangerous gym battle, Letless. Because fairies are so dangerous, our next Pokemon will be very handy. We can find a Pawniard in the old hotel, catch it and name it Captain Hook. After the capture, it's time for another scheduled battle against Serena. This time we start with Drapion, who first gets flinched and then sets up some Toxic Spice. We then defeat the Meowstic with 2 Night Slashes. Vaporeon is your newest team member, but gets immediately poisoned. Then we try a Venoshock, but it does fewer damage than expected. We just survive a Muddy Water. We need to switch and go for Greninja, who nearly takes Vaporeon out with Teeth, but then it faints thanks to our poison. Chestnut is next, so we go to Madam Mim, who only needs 1 Venoshock to end the Chestnut, and Absol meets the same fate, defeating Serena once again. From the hardest gym battle, it is time for the easiest gym battle against Olympia, because it goes the exact way you think it goes with Dark types against Psychic types. 1 Swords Dance and 3 Night Slashes are enough to defeat Olympia and win our 7th badge. The next step of our journey takes us back to Lumio City, where we need to take care of Team Flare. We start our first battle against him with a Psycho Cut and Oko it. Gyarados is next and he misses an Aqua Tail, and we try another Psycho Cut and it crits to about half. Then we do Night Slash for the stab damage and it is again a critical hit, defeating his biggest threat. Pyro then can't miss his Fire Blast, but Crafty can take some punches and defeat the Lion. Murkrow is last, and a poison from Poison Fang set up for a KO with Venoshock. After the battle we defeat some grunts and Pawniard evolves into Bisharp just in time for the second Lysander battle. He starts with an evolved Mienshao and we start with Bisharp with Protect so that Mienshao high jump kick will hurt itself. Because I don't want to risk 2 protects, I switch to Scar who can take a high jump kick. We fight back with Poison Fang and just can't defeat it. But luckily Mienshao doesn't heal and we can defeat it. Gyarados comes out next and we switch to Greninja who can take some moves from it. We try Smackdown because it's super effective, but it doesn't do as much damage as I thought that it would do. Then Gyarados retaliates with a massive Outrage and makes us lose our starter and the first Pokemon of the run. Because Gyarados is luckily locked into Outrage, I switch to Bisharp who resists the move and defeats it with 2 Night Slashes. Pyroar then comes out and I switch to Crocodile who avoids the Fire Blast and an Earthquake is enough to defeat it. Honchkrow is his last Pokemon and thanks to the Moxie boost and 2 power-up punches, Lysander is defeated for a second time. With the loss of the Greninja I need to replace it for a fallen hero, and because a Water Dark type was so useful, I go after another Water Dark type. On Route 3 we use the Good Rod and catch a Crawdaunt and level it up so it can be used immediately on the team. Our next objective is to capture Yveltal, the ultimate dark Pokemon. We have a Master Ball so we use it immediately but won't use Yveltal because I don't want to use legendaries in these challenges. Immediately after the capture, Lysander comes at us for a 3rd time, but there was a fault in the recordings, so I'm going to say what happened. I started with Scar who puts down 2 layers of Toxic Spike. Then I switched to Sableye when Mienshao tried to high jump kick. I then switched to Bisharp and got hit with resistant acrobatics. I then use Protect and Mienshao takes itself out with high jump kick. The next Pokemon is again Pyro and this time I switched to our newest team member Crawdaunt who only needs 1 Surf to defeat it. Honchkrow can't hurt our Bisharp and some power-up punches to get higher attack to defeat the Crow. This time Gyarados is his last Pokemon and it can even Mega Evolve, so first we'll check out what it tries to do using the Protect. Seeing Earthquake I make the decision to sacrifice my Sableye, but for some reason it survives. Knowing that I can't do much against this I press Shadow Sneak doing a little damage and after another attack we lose our second Pokemon. Thanks to its Mega Evolution, Gyarados is now a Dark type, so I switch to Grafty, who hits a Brick Break to over half its HP. Gyarados strikes hard using Aqua Tail, but we literally survive with 1 HP. A second Brick Break is then enough to defeat Gyarados and defeat Team Flare for good. First thing that we have to do after saving the world is battle again against Professor Sycamore. This time he has the fully evolved forms of the Kanto starters. First up is Venusaur and we start making it a poison battle with our Scar. Venusaur then makes the mistake locking itself into Petal Dance so Scar can't lose against it. We first use Night Slash and then add some Toxic Spikes. After the 2 layers we end it with some Night Slashes. Blastoise is next so we switch to Crawdaunt who first takes a Water Pulse and can fight back with some Night Slash. Blastoise then tries to use Skull Bash, but that was a big mistake because we can just use Protect to stop the attack. After we protect it, the poison damage does enough damage to defeat it. Then 1 Surf is enough to defeat Charizard and the Professor. After this it is again time for another rival survival because we have 3 rival battles in a row with first up Shauna. Dalcadia is first and she starts with Charm, but a critical Brick Break is enough to defeat it. Second is Goodra, so we switch to Crocodile who only needs 1 Earthquake to defeat it. A Moxie Boost's Earthquake makes quick work of Delphox and Shauna. Without healing between battles, we have to fight Cherno. He starts with Talonflame, but we can't stay in because Scrafty can't survive in acrobatics. Round can even survive 2 of them and defeating Talonflame with Surf. Again Roserade I switched to Drapion because it also locks itself into Petal Dance, so we can easily survive it with 2 Night Slashes. He then uses a Crawdaunt of his own and luckily misses a Crab Hammer against our Scrafty. Ursula then uses Brick Break but just misses out of the KO and survives a critical Crab Hammer. Then a second Brick Break is enough to defeat Cherno. Before the battle against Trevor we get healed up, but his Raichu doesn't stand a chance against Crocodile. When Florges comes out, she shuts up a Misty Terrain, and then I made the mistake to switch out to Skuntank. I then tried to poison it, but it has no effect thanks to the Misty Terrain. She then makes it even harder, lowering our special attack. I then make another mistake because I stray in with Venoshock, and thanks to our lowered special special attack it really doesn't do that much damage, but her Moon Blast is boosted thanks to the misty terrain and nearly defeats us. Knowing that switching to another Pokemon with Moon Blast means the end for it, I then make the hard decision to sacrifice and let Skuntank go down. To avenge his fallen poison dark type, Drapion needs only a cross poison to defeat it. Aerodactyl and Drapion then use Night Slash and Skydrop, but Drapion is too strong for it and we defeat Trevor. With 3 deaths we begin our final gym battle against Wolfric. I start the battle with some power-up punches because Abomasnow can't hit him that hard. After 4 attacks it is defeated and Cryogonal comes out next. It starts with a Confuse Ray, but I thought that it might do that, so I gave it a Lumberry that it cures the confusion and can defeat Cryogonal with an Iron Head. Avalok then meets the same fate, but means we have defeated all 8 gym leaders. Normally it would be then going to the Pokemon League, but before we do that, I first capture our last team member in the Victory Road. Deep in the cavern lives the 2-headed beast Zweilous, and we capture it. Then we're really at the final stretch of the game, and before we can challenge the Pokemon League, we have one final battle against Serena. Knowing that Meowstic will start using Fake Out, I switch to Bisharp, who resists all its moves and hits very hard with Night Slash. Chestnut tries a 4 times effective move, so I switch to Drapion to survive it, and deal massive damage using Cross Poison. Hades then makes his debut against Vaporeon, and after a Body Slam it nearly gets defeated by Aurora Beam. Seeing that, I switch to Crawdaunt, who defeats it with a Crunch. Makes the mistake switching to Altaria, because she thinks that Dazzling Gleam will do enough damage, but it doesn't. After the hit, I use Ice Beam and defeat the Altaria. Absol is her last Pokemon, so I switch to Bisharp, who is a defensive wall against it, and 2 power-up punches later we defeat Serena. And with that, we also had our last rival battle of the game. The last preparations for the league starts with evolving our Zweilous into Hydreigon and then searching through the entire Kalos region for the best moves for the league. In the end, we end up with Scar the Drapion knowing Night Slash, Cross Poison, Thunderfang and Toxic Spikes holding a Zap Plate, or Lord from Hell Hydreigon named Hades holding a Magnet and the moves Charge Beam, Surf, Dragon Pulse and Dark Pulse. One of the most important members throughout the run, Crocodile, TikTok with Crunch, Outrage, Dig, for the moment Thief, but I will switch that later out for Earthquake. Cruella the Scrafty knows Dragon Claw, Power Up Punch, Bug Rake and Crunch. Crawdaunt, Surf, Dark Pulse, Protect and Ice Beam, and Captain Hook knows Power Up Punch, Iron Head, Protect and Night Slash holding a King's Rock. These 6 need to defeat the Elite Four and the champion. Our first opponent will be Seabolt, the Water Specialist, and a battle that couldn't begin any better, because after a Thunderfang we paralyze the Cloyster and it gets fully paralyzed in the process. A second one defeats it. Gyarados is next, and after its Intimidate I switch to Hydreigon because it has Levitate. I thought that it would do Earthquake, but it starts using Dragon Dance. Seabolt then becomes greedy and wants to use Dragon Dance again, but our Charge Beam does enough damage to put it into healing range and also boost our special attack. Then it heals up, but the second Charge Beam is enough to defeat the Gyarados and we gain another boost. Starmie is thanks to our double boost, and Stab Dark Pulse no match for us, and the same goes for Barbaracle, who can't handle another Charge Beam. Our second battle is against the Elite Four member Malva, and that is when I saw that I forgot to change Steve into Earthquake, but luckily we had Dig to win against Pyro to boost our attack with Moxie. Braver does just under half to our TikTok, and Crunch is enough to defeat it while gaining another attack boost. I nearly got into massive trouble with Torkoal because it uses Earthquake when I'm underground, but we survive it and defeat it with a Dig. Her last Pokemon can't hurt us and go out, so we defeat it only using Crocodile. Before the battle against Wigstrom, I switch out Steve for Earthquake, and thanks to it we have another very easy battle, because Earthquake and Moxie are super effective against all its steel types, and because Probopass has 30 we use Crunch, but we are so boosted that we win very easy against another Elite Four member. One of the reasons why Crocodile is one of my favorite Pokemon is its ability and strength, because after another Earthquake and 2 Outrages, Dravna is left with only 1 Pokemon Noivern. Sadly, Crocodile gets confused and he switches out of precaution to Bisharp. I do that so I can pivot to Crawdaunt and don't take too much damage. So, with then another Ice Beam, we defeat it and win against the Elite Four Deathless. The last battle of the game is against Diantha, the Colossus champion. This is it. One more battle that decides it all. If we survive this, then we're the champion and win this dark run. But if we lose, we need to go to the beginning and start again with our little Froakie. Diantha starts with Hawlucha and I with Drapion. Diantha wants to boost its attack and takes us down quickly, but we have Thunder Fan and take its HP very low so that it needs to heal. After healing, we bite again and nearly defeat it. He then does Flying Press, but we can take it and defeat her first Pokemon. Against Tyrantrum, I switch to Hades, who evades a Head Smash. I then use Dragon Pulse and defeats the T-Rex. Goodra's next, but we just can't defeat it using Dragon Pulse, but Goodra can and defeat our Hades, so we lose our fourth Pokemon. We then switch to Scrafty using Dragon Claw, but Goodra heals. But after the heal, we do over half damage and do it again. Then Goodra hits a Focus Blast, but we survive it and end Goodra with another Dragon Claw. Aurora's meets the same fate as the pre-evolved form with Grant, and one Brick Break is enough to defeat it. And then our Scrafty, but her Seed Bomb is not strong enough to defeat us in 2 turns, but our Crunches are, leaving her just with her one last Pokemon. I again know that if I switch it is just a lost turn, so I try a Crunch while she Mega Evolves her Gardevoir, but is faster and her Moonblast defeats us. I then switch to Drapion, but he isn't also fast enough and gets defeated with another Moonblast. I send Bisharp out. That I can only do one thing. Hope that Bisharp can take a Moonblast. And we survive on 27 HP. Then it is our turn and our Iron Head is super effective and strong enough to defeat Gardevoir, and with that also Diantha and this Pokemon Y Dark type Nuzlocke. After the battle we go to the Hall of Fame and record our 6 heroes that made it all the way, but we can't also forget our fallen friends from along the way, Dr. Facilier, Madame Mim and Ka. This was a really fun run and I really liked it because there are so many different Pokemon that I could use. Because I haven't caught all of them, I even could have used another entire different team. If something would have happened along the way, I could have caught Sneasel, Liepard and even a Tyranitar, so there were enough choices. And even though some of the battles were very easy, sometimes I really had to think outside of the box to defeat fighting, fire or flying types. For a next run, I'm not sure which one I will do. If I keep doing it alphabetically, then I would do the dragon, but maybe I will mix things up so there will be more videos in a shorter time. So until next time, catch you later!